Hey guys, Bradley tuning in, coming at you with another video, and I am so excited to bring you this one. I do a lot of analysis on the Toronto real estate market, but there is one red flag that I'm going to talk about in this video. It is the most important thing that I'm watching because it could change the landscape of the Toronto real estate market for a long time. It began in April of 2019. And so I'm excited to share that with you. Before I get started, my name is Bradley. I do videos like this all the time. I'm an investor and a broker here in the GTA. I'm excited to share this content with you. Let me know, what do you guys think is going to happen in 2019 in our real estate market? I love to do these updates and I love to get you guys involved in that discussion. Now, you guys will recall that not so long ago, I did a 2019 predictions video talking about our market where my forecast for 2019 would be a growth of between 1 to 3%. Now, as we stand today, we are seeing that 3% is the growth, which is in my mind actually the higher side to what was originally expected. And so my question and the gear started turning in, why is it that we're outperforming what most people are predicting for our 2019 market? And I think that I've pinpointed it and I want to share it with you right now. As of the second quarter of 2019, we have seen the number of sales go through the roof. In fact, we are up 10.6% since last year in the number of sales, but that's just one side of the equation. Right? On the other side of the equation, what people are kind of ignoring is inventory. We have seen the number of listings go down by 6% since last year. Now, this is a direct flip from what we saw happening when the market was coming down. Now we're starting to see that the number of sales are going back up, the inventory is depreciating, which leaves us with this problem once again of balancing our supply and demand. According to the Toronto Real Estate Board Chief Market Analyst, his name is Jason Mercer. I love following this guy online as well. It's great information. He said buyers started moving off the sidelines in the spring, and then he goes on to say we saw virtually no change in the number of new listings. So once again, we've got this balance, and I want to lay out for you some of these numbers to really just show you the depth of what's happening here. So as far as the number of active listings go, when we look at April through to June, in April we see 1% less, right? So it started to go down. That's when we kind of saw this starting to happen. In May, we saw 4.3% less listings coming on, or listings that are active, and in June, 5.7%. So we are ranging between -1% all the way to almost -6% as far as active listings going. So we got listings that are starting to creep down every single month from last year. At the same time, we've got the number of sales that are going up by double-digit numbers, so they're doing really well. In April, we saw a 16%, May we saw 18.9%, and in June we saw 10%. So those are floating anywhere from 10 to 19% more sales than last year. Now, that's not to say that we've completely fixed and erased what's happened in our past. We're still playing a bit of catch up, but what I find interesting is this balance where we're no longer getting new stuff, but yet the old stuff is disappearing. And it reminds me that our current problem here in Toronto, although we've got all these crises that have happened, you know, we've had the foreign buyer tax, we've had interest rate changes, we have stress test changes, all of these things have come in kind of waves and freaked people out and shocked the market. But at the end of the day, the problem that we face here is a supply issue, which I think is commonly known, but the numbers that people are ignoring that we're seeing here is that it's starting to inch its way back onto the scene. So, I mean, ultimately the solution is simple. Let's create more supply. And this has been the ongoing debate over the last few years. It's a topic of debate for the new federal election on the way, is how do we increase supply, especially here in the GTA, which is a real concern. Ultimately, we are much like, I love to make the comparison, we're much like New York, we're like Manhattan, we're this little island. Once you created that green belt, you're truly isolated and there's only so much inventory available. So how do we deal with that problem? Now, the city of Toronto had a game plan. In fact, it was called TO Core. Now, very recently, this is the city's plan, the provincial government moved in and completely wiped it out. There was over 200 changes made to that document to try and simplify it for the builders in the development. So we're left with a couple of things happening. One, the province wants development at any cost, and the city doesn't care if there's as much development. They want it to be facilitated and they want it to be good development. So we've got this imbalance here. We've got government fighting government, and ever since that TO Core plan was thrown out and revamped, we haven't seen very many proposals coming through at all. The development has really dropped off, which now leaves us with the supply coming down the road isn't there as far as new building goes. And on the field, as an experienced broker here in the real estate market in Toronto, I'm now starting to see bidding wars making a comeback. Now, this is a direct result of this. People don't understand why it's happening, but this is the reason. we've got this imbalance of supply right now. And so ultimately we're left with this one side right here, supply, which is not being helped. In fact, it's dwindling month by month. And at the same time, we also have these few items happening on the buyer side. Think about it. We've got interest rates that are flatlining. We did a video on that last week, and I'll share that as well. I'll tag it to this video for you. The foreign buyer shock that we experienced a few years back has now worn off. In fact, that's been worn off for a while. If you're truly keeping your finger on it, there wasn't a big impact. It was more of a freak out moment that kind of passed. But we also now see the mortgage stress test is starting to soften. They're starting to reduce that amount. They're going to open up a potential. I can really anticipate this coming now with the pressure happening to extend to a 30-year amortization. And really, the question is what is being blocked still? Like, what is it that's in our way from the demand to now start to go up again, which we've now started seeing in Q2 of 2019? And I would suggest to you, there's not a whole lot. There's not a lot to stop us. And so as that train continues, I mean, we're headed for the same patterns that we saw not that long ago. You guys remember the multiple offers, people bidding properties up. I don't think any of us necessarily want that to happen again. So we really need to identify this problem. So my question to you is, what can we do? What should happen? What direction are we going? I want to hear from you guys on what your thoughts are on all of these things. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Take care and keep it real.